JBN, we keep you informed. 70-year-old Justice of the Peace killed at your business place in St. Anne. An elderly Justice of the Peace, JP, was shot dead at your business establishment in Exchange near Ocharias, St. Anne on Thursday, March 26. The deceased has been identified as 70-year-old Earldine Henry Brown. It is reported that sometime after 2 p.m., she was at her hardware store when an armed man entered. He subsequently opened gunfire, hitting her to the upper body before fleeing the area. The senior citizen died at the scene. Henry Brown's death has sent shockwaves throughout the community of Exchange, where she operated her entity, as she was regarded as a quiet businesswoman. Several persons also expressed shock on social media site Facebook at the tragic development. I am very angry and totally annoyed as Mrs. Earldine Henry Brown JP was shot and killed in her hardware on the Exchange Main Road today. Please, those who have information, call Crime Stop or the Area 2 CIB. It's time for the crime to stop, a Facebook user posted. This is too terrible. May her soul rest in peace, stated another social media user. Police investigators are yet to identify a motive for the businesswoman's murder. Jamaica confirms 2 new COVID-19 cases, tally up to 32. There are 2 new coronavirus COVID-19 infections in Jamaica, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the island to 32. The Ministry of Health and Wellness made the announcement in a news release on Saturday evening. The 2 new cases involve a 70-year-old female from St. Catherine with no travel history and a 67-year-old female from Kingston with a travel history from the United Kingdom, the ministry said. Of the now 32 confirmed cases, 21 are imported cases and 8 are import-related. 3 cases, including the infection of the 70-year-old St. Catherine female, are under investigation. 34 persons are under quarantine in a government facility, not including the 140 Cuban healthcare workers who came into the island on March 21 and who are under quarantine for another 7 days, the ministry said, adding that there are 289 persons under home quarantine, not including the residents of Cornpeace Settlement in Clarendon, who are under community quarantine until April 2. 38 persons are in isolation. The island has so far tested 257 samples, including 61 that were tested for severe acute respiratory infections. 32 of the 257 tested positive and 221 tested negative. This represents a positivity yield of 12.5%. 4 results are pending. Police seized guns, ammunition, and car parts in various operations. The police on Friday seized multiple rounds of ammunition in 2 separate incidents across the island. In the first incident, a team of officers assigned to the Kingston Western Police Division seized 1 high-point firearm and 8 rounds of ammunition during an operation on Victoria Street, Kingston, on Friday, March 27. According to the police, about 5:45 p.m., lawmen were conducting an operation in the area when a premises was searched and the firearm and 8.45 rounds of ammunition were found. In the other incident, officers recovered several rounds of ammunition along with motor vehicle parts during an operation at Vickers Lane, Spanish Town in St. Catherine. Lawmen said that between the hours of 2:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m., a team of officers conducted an operation in the area. During the conduct of the operation, 11 9mm cartridges, 1 12-gauge cartridge, and a quantity of motor vehicle parts believed to be stolen were seized. No arrests were made in connection with the seizures. 78-year-old Portlander perished in fire. 78-year-old Solomon Taylor of Long Road in Portland became the parish's first fire victim in 2020 when he was burnt to death early Saturday morning. Taylor, who is a cabinet maker, was alone at home when his house caught fire, resulting in his death. Taylor's 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house was destroyed, but his attached workshop had minor damage. The fire was put out by the Port Antonio Fire Service, who are continuing investigation along with the police. Taylor's burnt body was found on his bed. Arson is not suspected at this time. JPS announces Flexi payment option for COVID-hit customers. The Jamaica Public Service JPS company says it will be providing flexible payment terms to customers who may be affected by the downturn in the economy as a result of the coronavirus. In a digital briefing on Saturday, Senior Vice President of Customer Services Ramsay McDonald said, however, that the affected customers must contact the Light and Power Company to make the necessary adjustments. "We can't do this alone. We need you to play your part," said McDonald, with Chief Financial Officer Vernon Douglas reminding that people who can pay their bills should do so, as the company needs money to continue operating. In the meantime, the JPS has suspended the disconnection of electricity for non-payment of bills for the elderly and the disabled and adjusted the time before it's triggered for other customers. McDonald also said maintenance outages have been limited to ones that are critical and should not last for more than 6 hours. At the same time, Douglas says the JPS has asked the government to remove the general consumption tax from all bills for a period of 90 days. He said the company has also asked the administration to remove the special consumption tax from fuel to make electricity more affordable in this time of this national crisis. The tax breaks that we're seeking in particular will result in a significant dent in electricity pricing if effectuated, said Douglas. The JPS also wants the government to allow it to access the foreign exchange to procure fuels for the electricity production. While all that is happening, Douglas said the JPS is working with suppliers to get extension on credit terms in what he described as a very challenging time. The JPS Chief Financial Officer also said the company is considering removing late fees from overdue bills on a case-by-case basis for customers who cannot afford to meet their deadlines. Funeral home director in trouble with the law over KPH stolen masks and gloves. Paul Adolphus Brown, a director of Brown's Funeral Home in Kingston, has been charged in connection with the recent discovery of hundreds of hospital gloves and masks at the establishment located next door to the Kingston Public Hospital. This was disclosed on Friday by Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey. Brown has been charged with conspiracy to defraud and receiving stolen property. The attorney representing Brown said that his client has denied the allegations against him. Primarily, the police are charging him as a director, as a person who is in Jamaica at this point as it relates to being responsible for the company, Christopher Townsend explained. The attorney said Brown is only a figurehead in the family business. There are several brothers and sisters. He is one of 2 shareholders at this time. The business is managed by other persons. Mr. Brown is primarily a figurehead director. He doesn't take part in the day-to-day running of the business. Speaking on the specific allegations against Brown, Townsend questioned whether there was evidence tying his client to the stolen items. "From the evidence that I've seen, there's nothing to indicate that he had any knowledge at all of the purchase, and even further, whether or not the items were stolen. He is not the day-to-day person that runs the business," Townsend stressed. 4 other persons have also been charged. They are Edward Clark, Luke Anthony Dunn, Alton Smith, and Mark Lloyd. They too have been charged with conspiracy to defraud and a simple larceny. Townsend said that his client did not know his co-accused. He doesn't know them at all. "We gather that they are persons connected to the Kingston Public Hospital," he said. COP contracts COVID-19. The Corporate Communications Unit CCU has confirmed that a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF has tested positive for the coronavirus. According to head of the CCU, Senior Superintendent of Police SSP Stephanie Lindsay, the policeman recently returned from overseas and based on the protocol was placed in quarantine. While there, he began exhibiting symptoms of the virus and was tested. The result came back positive. Lindsay said the cop was doing well. "He is responding to treatment and we continue to lend our support. We continue to sensitize our members and encourage them to pay attention to the advisories from the Ministry of Health," she said. The SSP explained further that Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson has been visiting police stations across the island to sensitize members on taking the necessary precaution while on the job. She said yesterday that more than 100 gallons of hand sanitizers have been purchased and distributed to members across police divisions. 125,000 pairs of gloves, more than 7,000 masks, 2,300 disinfectant sprays, and more than 50 hazmat suits have been distributed to police personnel, the senior cop reported. Lindsay highlighted too that owing to the COVID-19 crisis and the demand for hand sanitizers, the cleansing agent has been in short supply. She said that every effort was being made to ensure the personnel have access to hand sanitizers. There is scarcity in the supply, but the suppliers have placed us as priority. So once it's available, we get it. Based on that, we have to prioritize in terms of who gets first. The focus is on first responders who are out there, such as persons who work at high-risk areas, such as the cells, she said. We have to sanitize everything there because we want to keep our cell population healthy and COVID-19 free. We have to ensure that those who work at the borders and in other crucial areas are on the priority list. A hotline has been provided for police personnel to provide feedback on the items they're in need of. The advice to our members is safety first. We don't want them to put themselves at unnecessary risk of contracting the virus, Lindsay asserted. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember, subscribe, like, share. Leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.